howdy strangers. I am currently driving home, but I think I'm a little bit over my head with this video idea of mine. I wanted to do like this really big production value video, like the biggest video that our channel has ever had, like at least as far as production value and the editing and such. But I've come to realize that I can't exactly do that at the moment. Part of that is my limited resources. Part of it is limited time. But I did want to go into the heart of what I was planning on talking about that video. That was a terrible sentence, but I'm going to stick with it. Now, I hope you all understand that I love working with you. I love just everyone who has been or who currently is a part of the Strangers community. So everyone who's been on the channel and everyone who's on the other Strangers channel. Now, I'm really missing out on a lot of things that the other Strangers are doing, so I do hope that y'all get some videos out soon, because I kind of miss you. I believe Mariah recently put out a video, but I think she's the last one. I know Mike was doing videos for a few weeks. But let's move on to the actual topic. I know that all of us have read at least one John Green book. And my favorite is An Abundance of Catherines. But Crystal brought something up when I asked what y'all thought of the books. And Crystal's right. John Green doesn't really write fun books. I mean, the most fun book that he's ever written is An Abundance of Catherines, and that still has some pretty dramatic parts in it. But it's his goofiest. But I'm going to go into how his writing has evolved over the years. Let's start off, well, at the beginning. So, Looking for Alaska came out in 2005. And that book was cheeky and fun, but it was very deep and dramatic. If you don't want any spoilers for the books, stop listening now, because everything from me at this point forward is going to be spoilers. So, John Green puts one of the most out of nowhere deaths I've ever seen. There wasn't any build up to it. There was some foreshadowing to it. Because, well, Alaska talked about smoking to die, and she was someone who constantly joked about death. But how the death was treated made it feel like it was very out of nowhere, because she just died in a drunk driving accident. That's it. And so with that, the book has a ton of other themes, because they're not trying to find Alaska for the first part of the book. They're reveling in her. They're just enjoying who they think she is. And then from there, they try to find her. They try to see who she really was. And that theming works throughout the entirety of the book. And it goes into his next non-fun book, Paper Towns. An Abundance of Catherines is next on there, but there's no evolution. that's John Green essentially just writing for fun. And you can tell it's just writing for fun just due to how it goes about. It's a very simple story about a guy who's accepting himself. Accepting that he's not going to be what he thinks he should be. He's just going. Now, learning about someone after they're gone is a huge part of Paper Towns. That's the entire point of Paper Towns. Because you think you know someone. Hugh thinks he knows Margot. But he doesn't. In all reality, he has no clue who she is. All he knows is who she was and who he thinks she is. And the rest of that is him trying to figure out where she is based on what he thinks he knows about her. And it comes out that he knows pretty much nothing about her. And the entirety of the story is him learning about her. He knows more about her after she's gone, but he refuses to accept it until she outright tells him that he needs to accept it. Now, the next book that he put out was Will Grayson, Will Grayson. Actually, that's not true, because there was another collaborative story that he wrote. But Let It Snow is not entirely John Green's work. It's not his mindset. He put some stuff in there. But it doesn't feel like a John Green book. It feels more like a book that Lauren Myracle and Maureen Johnson worked on, and John Green added his own flair to it. But each one is their own separate thing. I don't want to get into that book, because that book is very special, and it doesn't fit in with everything. It's another one like An Abundance of Catherines. It's John Green writing for fun, writing with his friends. And you can see some of that in Will Grayson as well. But there is some definite theming that's going along and showing John Green evolving into his style. It's a very down, very pessimistic book when you look into it, except for the very end. That being said, there are some great symbols in there and some fun things with that. But it's all about fighting yourself and not knowing what you want. And I think that goes really well into things, especially when you take John Green's next book into account, The Fault in Our Stars. The Fault in Our Stars was a very personal book for John. It was taking his own personal experiences as a father, along with his time as a chaplain at a children's hospital. So it was very raw. But it also put into perspective his thoughts as a writer, that the writer does not owe their audience anything other than the book that they are given. And that's it. That's what we pay for with a book. We don't pay for anything after that. And I find that to be rather brilliant. It's a great story. It's very dramatic. And as a parent, I find that book and I find the movie hard to get through without really taking a step back mentally. It's one of those stories that you have to take yourself out of it, or else you will go too deep. And I think that's brilliant. It's going further into John Green's style. And if you haven't figured it out, John Green is excellent at writing stories. He was one of the few authors who wrote from a male perspective starting off, but then he went into a female perspective on his two most recent books. He understood what teenagers like that were thinking, what female teenagers like that are thinking. But here's the thing. He is not good at writing dumb characters. All of his characters are smarter than they ought to be. And that's fine. That's what I go into John Green books for. Kids that are highly intelligent, who, are smarter than they let on. Now, Q is a very interesting example on that, because Q is actually kind of dense. But his next character is, terrible at social interactions, period. And that is Aza from Turtles All the Way Down. That book is nothing but metaphors. So many metaphors, just drenched. If you thought The Fault in Our Stars was filled with metaphors, read. Just every page, there's a new metaphor that he's trying to push in. You read that page and just everything in there. If you have anxiety, that book is hard to go through. And I've gone through it twice now. Listened to it and read it. And to be completely honest, it's his best. He was still doing smart characters, but he did a character there's OCD, there's the inner demons that come with anxiety, there's self-doubt, but when it comes time to create an engaging character, that's what the best friend's there for. Aza is not engaging. In fact, Aza is a terribly selfish person. But that's the point. She is engrossed in her own mind so much that it is really hard for her to break out. And that's what anxiety feels like. You are trapped within yourself. And so there you go. There's a good look at how John Green's writing has evolved. I'm not the best at deep diving into books. I don't read books over and over again. I don't scour through them to try and look at the metaphorical implications. But that's how I see John Green's books. And the really good thing is, if you did not see what I saw in these books, that's fine. I don't even know if that's what John Green intended with his books, but I can guarantee you one thing. John Green is probably happy that I enjoyed his books, that I saw that they were worthy of merit. And so, yeah, please, if you can, read these books. John wrote 2 books that are fun and a whole bunch of other books that are really well written, that tackle a lot of interesting topics. And that's what I'm hoping for. So, I'll see all y'all in your videos this week. I'm really excited to see what all is going on with everyone. DFTBA, and bye-bye.